we can go.
Wow, I mean, that got done very, very quickly. It's amazing. Okay. Hey, good morning, everyone. Listen, if things get bad, you can think about Joey McGregor up there in that Maine weather. How you doing, Joe? Whoops, is that a stationary? Am I frozen or is he frozen? Oh, okay.
I think he's frozen.
I think he's frozen, Fred.
He's literally frozen. Up in Maine. Anyway, well, listen, for those of you on the call, you know, we got 44, 45, 46. I love watching it help. It's just boom, 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 boom. But thank you so much for being here. And for those of you that are here, I don't ever like penalizing those who are on time for those that are behind time. So we're going to just go ahead and get started, but I want to just give you a warning. I want you to fasten your seatbelts because I have about 2 hours of material. In an hour that is for Liz and an hour for me. So, but I got to get it all into an hour. Okay. So here we go. So buckle your seatbelts. Are you ready? Let me just get my slides back up here. I had to restart. That's why I was a little bit behind here. So let me pull these up and we will get going here. Good old technology, and don't anybody bring up about the fact of a Mac. I know. I'll get there one day. I'll grow up. By the way, how many Mac users are there on the call? We've got 48 people right now. How many Mac and how many PC? Just put in Mac or PC. Tiffany, do me a favor, count them for me. I'm just curious, how many people use Mac and how many people use PC? I just want to see if I'm, oh, okay. All right, how many, all right, let me keep going. That's interesting. What's the count so far, Tiff? What's the count so far? Let me see. Whoop.
Sorry, I'm getting ready to take Clarky to school.
Joe, what's the count so far? How many PC, how many Mac?
A Mac should be 4.
Oh, that's all.
Claire uses both. Mostly PC.
Wow, interesting.
Yeah.
Tell George to put that in his pipe and smoke it. All right, can you see my screen? Talk to me. Can you see my screen? Thumbs up.
Yes.
Right.
Yes, we can.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, officially, welcome to the midweek Mind Body Mastermind. Before we get started, I want to remind you, look at this address, facebook.com/groups/Mind Body Mastermind. Joe, if you can put that in the text for me, to go to facebook.com/groups/Mind Body Mastermind, because I really, these Wednesdays just don't do it justice of what this is really all about. If you would come in here and look at this, and when you see 101,000 steps to a renewed mind and body, do not go, oh my gosh, what is he talking about? That's my target for a week, 101,000 steps, which is about 50 miles. And that is my goal. Everybody's goals are different because I use that to do the mind and the body because I want to commit to so many books a week, audio and all that stuff. So I use the one thing to do. Oops, somebody needs to be muted. Somebody needs to be muted. Okay, so anyway, but if you'll come and join this, it's amazing how powerful the walking and the programming together will absolutely radically change your life. In this Mind Body Mastermind, this midweek, just is not enough for us to really do what we have to do. And you're going to see that this morning. So if you would please go to facebook.com/groups Mind Body Mastermind, or click the link Joe just didn't, hit join. And I don't care if it's 10 steps a week, but as long as you start thinking, how can I get this thought reversal system? How can I unlearn all those things that are holding me back? Because that's what we got to learn in life is we need to reverse our thought system. You know, this is all about a thinking safari, right? We have this jungle going on in our mind, and all the time, no matter how tough it gets, it really is well with our soul. And there's a giant kingdom within us. We just don't know how to tap it. And, you know, all the lions, tigers, and bears in our lives are just imaginary illusions. And this is all designed, that website, Mind Body Mastermind. And by the way, this started from this thing called Soulful Wednesday. We started about 1.5 years ago. And it's now gone into the Mind Body Mastermind on Facebook, and there's going to be a YouTube channel and a website as well. I want you to be a big part of that. It will radically change your life. Read my personal story on that site, how it saved my life literally. I don't think I'd be here today without you know what I'm asking everyone to participate with. So this is all about getting rid of your BS that's holding you hostage, and that BS are your belief systems. So that's what this is all about. So today, welcome to the midweek Mind Body Mastermind. And let's get rid of all the BS that's holding you hostage, which is your belief systems. Today, you're going to hear from Liz, who's been practicing this, part 6 today. This is our 6th week. We've been talking about, you know, how we all have this illusion of we're going to sail the 7 seas one day and our life is going to be wonderful and everything is going to be well. And, you know, all this other stuff, but it never, ever happens. But what we really have to do is grasp the truth. And the truth is you can't control the 7 seas in sailing, but you can control the other 7 seas, the truth that we're going to talk about today. And Liz is going to share with you some things about how she is working on, we never accomplish it. We're working on the 7 C's, which is truth. And she's doing it with clear concentration. So these are my C's today, clear concentration. And Liz is a great example of putting this into practice. And here's her story. If you've already read it, let me just read it. If you're a guest with us and just seen this for the first time, you know, she went from broke to stoke in the last 2 years, 26 years old, 3 children, 2, 11, 12, armed with attitude, went from not having money in 2019 to 2020, all the pressure, all the worry, all the stress. Her husband lost his job, then their house went into forbearance while she was 9 months pregnant, retiring her husband just last month. Now, let me just say that I said that, retiring her husband, but really she not only retired him, she put him into one of the best positions there is in life. And that is to have him come in and be able to stay home with the kids and, you know, to be a dad full time while she's now taking over the breadwinning because she got $50,000 in the bank, and then she has all the pending deals and that kind of stuff. So how did she go for, you know, she was in Philly at 22 years old, aimless, broke, getting away from a life of watching her mother struggle week to week, her father who would sell what her mom bought to get drugs, you know. And so mindset, skill set, and will set. A lot of people, oh, I gotta, you know, get me motivated, get me inspired. You know, it's aspiration. How can we get you to eliminate those belief systems that block your aspiration? We all have the aspiration, but we're blocked. What is it that's blocking us, right? And we'll blame others. We'll blame the company we're with. We'll blame our spouse. We'll blame our background. We'll blame our past failure. We blame everything but ourselves, and we don't have to blame ourselves. We just have to figure out how to get out of our own way and unprogram ourselves and unlearn everything. So it's all about mindset. Then it's the skill set, and then you got to have the will to put it in the action. And you're going to see how Liz did that to get to her hyper growth, how she turned her hurts into halos, her scars into stars with mindset, skill set, and will set. Okay. Now, where does it all start? You got to have a foundation for anything. And the foundation to really, truly understand yourself and to get going and to unlearn everything you learned. If you are broke, if you are depressed, if you are worn out, if you are not doing what you want to do in this business that you're in, the real estate business, because I have people that watch this about in the real estate business, whatever business you're in, if you're not performing where you would really like to perform, on a scale of 1 to 10, your life being totally complete, where would you rank yourself? So wherever that is, if it's not a 10, that you are not fulfilling that 4-letter word, clear concentration on a 4-letter word. Now, some of you don't go, you know, don't start guessing. The 4-letter word is love, right? Because right here I said, you know, let love rule. Let love rule. But we don't know how to do that because our hearts have been picked away out of our lives. We've had fathers that would sell the family's belongings in order to get drugs and let us hanging. That picks away at your heart big time. You know, we've had other things, abuse, whatever it is, but love is the only thing that there is. Let me just give you these three powerful things. Love finds you when you find it in yourself. And most of us, me, I'm still learning what is true love. What is really love all about? How do I make it where it's real and empowering every minute of my life, and it defeats those voices in my head? Well, you know, Marianne Williamson, you know, quoting from A Course in Miracles, she said, our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. It is our light, not our darkness, that most frightens us. We ask ourselves, who am I to be brilliant, gorgeous, talented, and fabulous? Actually, who are you not to be? You're a child of God. Your playing small does not serve the world. If you are behind on your sales quota, if you're behind on your relationships, if you are behind on anything, if you're down, if you're depressed, you're playing small. That's the bottom line. I said in the other C's over the last 5 weeks, the word complacency is a cancer. Complacency is playing it small. Your playing small does not serve the world, and it doesn't serve you. There's nothing enlightened about shrinking so that other people won't feel insecure around you. We are meant to shine as children do. We were born to make manifest the glory of God that is within us. It is not just in some of us, not at all. It's every single one of us. It is in everyone. And as we let our own light shine, we unconsciously give other people permission to do the same. Liz gave me permission on a meeting she did on Monday, and she gave me permission to be a better version of myself, to tap love even stronger. And so the more we let our light shine, we constantly give other people permission to do the same. That's why I'm so much into this walking and listening, because you read books, you hear books, you do this, you do that. I just on this site, I just went through a book. It says, you know, here, this book right away when I opened it, and you're talking about letting your light shine. I got a hold of this book. It just comes to you when you're in that space and you're looking for love and you're experiencing your own love, then you'll find more of it. This book that this lady wrote, Move Your Body, Heal Your Mind, it was incredible. As I'm listening to her story, I go, you gotta be kidding me. She's accomplished doctor, psychologist, and marathon runner, and all the things that she's done, Iron Woman. And then she starts telling her personal story, where as a young mother with postpartum blues, how she almost did something very destructive to that which she had just given birth to. And then she started talking about the power of love of herself. And I'm listening. I said, oh my God, this is unbelievable. That you look at someone so accomplished. Wait till you see her background. And then she's giving out all this love, and she's helping us to have love for ourselves, our future self. That book is all about how to prevent your mind from diminishing and from dementia and everything else, and how the movement of the body, you know, heals you, and then how she's healed herself. So see, this is why we got to quit playing small, folks. We got to quit playing small. It's in every one of us. And as we let our light shine, we constantly give other people permission to do the same. That woman gave me so much permission last week as I'm going through her audiobook. I went, you got to be kidding me. I'm still playing small. I'm still playing small. As we are liberated from our own fear, our presence automatically liberates others. Liz, your presence liberated me on Monday. That woman liberated me all last week as I'm walking and listening. Did the battle still go on in the head? Yes. Did my saboteurs that we talked about with the positive intelligence? Yes, they wanted to sabotage. But the love conquered. John Lennon, you know, if some of this other stuff is too heavy for you, John Lennon. There are two basic motivating forces, fear and love. When we are afraid, we pull back from life. When we are in love, we open to all that life has to offer with passion, excitement, and acceptance. We need to learn to love ourselves first in all our glory and all of our imperfections. When you're a coach, people go, well, your life, you got it straight. Bullshit. No one has their life straight, including Tony Robbins. He has to dive in a pool every morning at 56 degrees or whatever it is to get motivated. And you got to understand that it's in all our glory and all of our imperfections. We cannot love ourselves. If we cannot love ourselves, we cannot fully open our ability to love others or our potential to create. And Liz is creating. Evolution and all hopes for a better world rest in the fearlessness and open-hearted vision of people who embrace life. And folks, that's what the 7 C's has been all about. Not the 7 C's that we dream about and that illusionary life that we dream about and sailing those 7 C's. And we're all waiting for a ship to come in, but yet we haven't put it out the port. And, we got to get that keel straight. This is that cancer word. Complacency is worse than cancer. It causes cancer. Go through that mind body, move your body, heal your mind. She talks all about that. All the diseases from the lack of the body not functioning properly, from not moving it, and also with the programming of the mind. So this is what I'm going to bring Liz in for and talk about this and talk about her personal story and how is working her 7 C's to make a life that is, so beautiful for her and her family. So you're going to get this PDF because it's a culmination, this positive intelligence we went through, the things that are saboteurs that we give into. I couldn't believe when I took this, I thought I've conquered this. I still have it. And these are the things that sabotage me and want to sabotage that beauty of that love. Is this the things that want to pull me back into fear and that feeling of inadequacy and I'm not good enough? So we need to take that self-test here under positive intelligence. What are your saboteurs? It's right on the homepage. You got to scroll down, you look for it, it's right about in the middle. So these are all the things we talked about, are your, creation and creating. That was part 5. And let's go down here quickly, because this is what happened to Liz. This is what happens to those that want to start overcoming that fear, is a little bit of an understanding is that here's who we truly are. This is how we came off the assembly line, folks. We came off with a soul with full of love, forgiveness, and atonement, but yet we got programmed with an ego to defend ourselves against this world that we came into. And we also got, programmed because that's what we had to do to survive. But that ego does not serve us as adults. Only you got to go back to the original version of you. You got to go back to the real you. And that real you is what you were sent here with and where you will go back to. And is that possible? Yes. As soon as you realize what's wrong with you, you don't have courage. You don't have courage to live, like John Lennon said. The reason you don't have courage with the Latin word heart, your heart has been eaten away at. It's been eaten away at, whether it's sexual abuse like I went through as a kid and physical abuse and it's craziness in our families, or whether it was later on. There's someone on this call who lived a life of 31 years of abuse that I coach. All these different things. There's people that are in prison today because of their heart was so picked away at. That's where they ended up, because they've had to defend so much, and they thought this is the way life was, and they never realized it over here. And no matter how hard they worked on their life, you see this, the ego is a thermometer. Well, this company, this company's not doing it for me. I'm going to leave this company because, I can just tell it's not for me, right? Well, no, you got to come over here and change something over here, because it's never you I've got to change my spouse, or I got to change my where I'm living. That's my problem. All these other kind of things. Now, love sometimes will cause you to change and change big. And you're going to hear that from Liz. Love is what caused her to get away from her kind of upbringing in Philly, and where it led into Tampa. But we got to understand, we got to get our heart back. And the only way you're going to get your heart back is to find people like me that will tell you the truth, that you got to be honest, and you got to let people in your life be honest. You got to take self-evaluations and self-analysis, and you need to say, hey, tell me, look, speak to me honestly. What do you really think? When I coach people, I say, look, are you open for the truth? Because the truth is not easy at first, but it's liberating afterwards when you face it. But the only way you're going to get heart is being honest with yourself. You created your exact life that you're in. If your business is bad, you created it. If your business is good, you created it. Liz created her business. The same people who are on the call, if your business is bad, you created it. So we got to be honest with ourselves. Then we got to say, okay, let me have some empathy now for myself for a moment, not sympathy, because we go into sympathy for ourselves. And that's why we come over here, okay, and we abuse substances. We have that monkey mind. That's what the ego does, because the soul is crying out, you're bigger, you're better, you can do it. I know you can. And you're saying, oh, I got to drown that out. Let me take a drink. Let me have some little extra food. Let me have some extra ice cream. Let me go have some extra sex that I shouldn't be having. Let me have this. Let me have that. I need more. I got to drown this voice out that's calling you to this greatness that Marianne Williamson talks about. So how do we get that heart back? By being honest, be empathetic to yourself. Don't beat yourself up with a steel rod, but do use a feather to get your attention. You've got to have empathy for yourself, because you can't have empathy for anyone else until you have empathy for yourself. The same thing that John Lennon just said. Attitude. That's the center. You see, that's the center, right? It's your attitude, not your aptitude, that is determining your altitude. If you don't like where you're flying and you don't like where you are, change your attitude. But you can't change your attitude. Some of you have tried it, but you don't realize you haven't dealt with that little hurt girl. You haven't dealt with that little hurt boy. You haven't picked them up and say, I'm going to take care of you. Mom didn't do it. Dad didn't do it. The one who abused me didn't do it. I'm going to take care of you. So then you start getting your heart back, all that heart that's been eaten away at all your life, and that you keep doing to yourself. Every single one of us on this call, if it was possible to make a list of everything you've said to yourself, make a list of everything that you've done to yourself, you would be put on trial. You would be accused of everything from severe abuse and a lot of us murder. I've murdered myself many times. Many people have. So we got to change that attitude, right? And you can't do it over here. This is all about the ego. This is all what comes about. This is the type of thing that calls God, what will you do for me today? Oh man, life is not treating me fair. You know, look what's happened to me. Over here is God, what can I do for you today? Life, what can I do for you today? Because that's the soul. And this is what calls us, what's already there. I don't care what any religion you've been exposed to, it's BS. It's a belief. You don't need to get anything. You don't need to say any magic prayers. You came here with it. You came here with it. But you need to go inside and realize where it is. And this is the soul side. This is the ego side. It's your choice. And as soon as you realize that your whole problem is your heart's been eaten away at, you came here very unique with your own unique set of credentials, but those that have taken your heart away, and you let them take it away, you're taking your own away. You've got to be honest, you got to get some empathy, you got to have the attitude, and then you've got to call in your reserves. You got to get those headphones on. You've got to order audiobook. You've got to have YouTube premium channel. Get out, start walking, call in your reserves. This woman, this book, move your body, heal your mind. I thought, I'm going to listen to it because it's kind of into what I'm talking about. I thought I was going to have some expert standing up there and all. Oh my gosh, it's nuts. Her personal story has just astounded me. And it's just a reminder again and again that we're all in this together. So we got to call in our reserves and we got to be tough. We got to be tough on ourselves. You give yourself, you can't give yourself any breaks in that way of sympathy. Empathy, yes, but not sympathy. So this is what Liz discovered. She started to move over here. And you know what? Liz is not finished yet. She's got us to live. It's a daily basis, but she's on her way and she's done this and she's starting to do this. She got honest with herself. I got to make a change. I got to get out of Philly. I got to get there. She started being empathetic to herself, but then the hell started breaking loose with losing jobs and all that kind of stuff. So she grasped an attitude. She started looking around and saying, what else is out there? She found the GPS group, which has been very, very good for her. But the GPS group didn't make Liz. If that was the case, we have 420 people in our group. We've gone through 670 people. What happened to those other 240 people? How come the GPS didn't do anything for them? Because they didn't show up at the meeting. They didn't call for a reserve. Someone said to me the other day, hey, Fred, you know what we need? Man, I'll tell you what, we need a session on Airbnb. I go, were you on the Call to It show? Oh my gosh. I said, Holly knocked it out of the park. She gave you so many reasons. Oh, she did? Yeah, she did. But you weren't there, so you don't know. And then you don't go to the GPS Worksite Center and you don't go and listen to the meetings that you miss. Folks, Tom is not playing around when he mentors. George is not playing around. You know, Liz didn't play around on Monday. Holly, all the people who are contributing, all of you, Deep doesn't play around, all of us. You know, Bobby the other day, he comes out, he wasn't prepared, but oh my gosh, he was prepared. So we're not playing around, but you got to call on your reserves and you got to be tough on yourself and stop the nonsense. So with that, Liz, where are you? Let me stop sharing the screen so we can see that bright face of yours and see that love shining through. And let's talk just quickly here about these C's. Where are they? 8, 9. Here we go. So I'm gonna you have a copy of this. So if you'll go ahead and let's just because I want to see you and see everybody, and we're gonna go ahead and look at that face, folks. Is that a face that's loving herself? You better believe it.
Good morning, everyone. How are you? Thank you, Fred, for having me. I'm actually really excited to share my story with you guys, and hopefully it will not just inspire, but aspire you. I remember Fred talking about that book, and I started reading it, and it has changed the game for me. So hopefully my story can help some of you. Thank you, Fred.
So anyway, hold on 1 second. I just printed out my thing, so I had it in front of me. I didn't grab it. So anyway, first of all, grew up in Philly.
Yes, sir.
We're already kind of buddies because I grew up in Baltimore. We both speak the same, you know. A lot of times people say, "Are you from Philly?" I go, "No, I'm from Baltimore." Or I say the same thing. So yeah. So anyway, Liz, how many siblings did you have?
So I have 4 siblings. I have 2 sisters in Tampa, and then I have a brother and a sister from both my mom and my dad.
Okay, and you were older, younger? Where were you?
I was the oldest between my parents, and then my 2 oldest sisters are from my dad and his previous relationship.
Got it. So just quickly, okay, and again, it's not about poor me, this, that, it's just about all of us. We all have and I don't like even bringing up stories because that's all it is, right? It's just a story because you're creating your story every day, and we don't want to focus on the past. But I mean, you grew up with a father that had issues with drugs, right?
Yep.
Yeah. What was his drug of choice?
So cocaine.
Okay.
So everyone who knows, if you've dealt with it, you know that it's not something that it's bad. I'm just gonna say that it's bad.
And then your mom, what did she do for a living?
So my mom, she worked, she was a store manager at Former Mills. If you've been up north, you know what that is. So that she would bust her tail to work, 12-hour shifts in order to make ends meet.
And so she wasn't making $100,000 a year, I'm sure.
Absolutely not. More like call it 25, 30, and that's pushing it.
Yeah. And so she was the total breadwinner. How long did she put up with your dad in that situation?
So my parents, my dad is clean now, guys. So I will say that prayer works thing, my parents have been together, married for 31 years. So she stuck it out and she still does every single day. He's clean now, which is great, but it wasn't that way, growing up.
Is he productive now? Is he?
Yeah, he drives tractor trailers. He has a CDL, so he travels a lot, and he's making up for a lot of what we dealt with as kids.
And then started Tampa. So you in Philly. Did you finish school?
So I actually didn't finish school. I left when I literally had 6 classes to do. I lost my scholarship because I was working part-time and they said I made too much money. I had a full ride to my school, and they were like, "Hey, you make too much money, so now we're not paying for your last year of school." And I was a double major with a minor, so you can tell that sucked.
How did that feel when it happened?
Have you ever felt somebody just rip the carpet from underneath you and you just fall flat out, like, and you don't know what the hell is going on? Like that.
Yeah, I'm 68. It's happened thousands of times.
Yeah.
So when that feeling, right? Of course, what the hell happened? Life is not fair, right?
Yeah.
And this is horrible. And yet, what did that prompt you to do?
So I came down for vacation. I met my husband, and a month and a half later, I moved to Tampa, and my husband and I moved together. We're married now, but we moved in together, and it was the ultimate blessing. That was the biggest, course change for me.
So if they would have yanked the rug out from under you, right? Because life happened to you. It didn't.
Yep.
I mean, life happened for you, not to you. But yet,
Yeah.
again, do you see that's where that 1C comes in? We're going to quickly talk about is our concern. Only 8% of the things people worry about really come true. And then there's
Yep.
the other statistic about 90% of the 8%, you have nothing you can do about it, right?
Yep.
So there's nothing you could do about it. So, but yet it forces you to do something, and so that's everything happens in our life. Everything. I've got some stuff going on right now. It's not fair. It's not better. I can go on and on. I mean, it's pretty bad stuff, folks. And but I'm going, what can I learn from this? What is this going to accomplish? What will this do to get me to dig even deeper than I'm digging? So that's an interesting example there. So tell us quickly. So you come to Tampa, you meet your husband, you marry, you move in, he's working, things are okay, right?
Yeah, things were great. My husband, he was working full time with his previous organization, busting his tail off. And then we get the opportunity to move to Orlando, where he was given a promotion, did exceptionally well. He was, killing it for the company, where, they had him not only relocate us to Jacksonville. That's where I met Claire, and she is my mama. If you know Claire, she is literally my second mom. And we got to work out there. My husband traveled and everything for work. And then we had the opportunity to come back to Orlando for my husband's promotion. We get down here, we close on our house, mind you, for a month and a half. I'm 6.5, almost 7 months pregnant, driving back and forth from Jacksonville to Orlando to meet clients, to show property. I would leave my house at 7 o'clock in the morning, and I wasn't getting back until 11 p.m. Mind you, I'm 6.5, 7 months pregnant. Finally get to Orlando. We close on our house. We're super excited. 5 days later, he goes in for a meeting and they fire him.
Yep.
While I am 7.5 months pregnant. So you can tell I was just like, I was mortified. My husband was mortified because he was making over 150 grand a year. So we were living a very comfortable life. We said, wow, we made it. For us, where we came from, we're like, we made it. And then this happens all over again.
Another punch.
Yep.
Especially when you're
Yeah.
pregnant, that hurts, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
But again, so that you were in the you had your real estate license then, right?
Yeah.
And then when you got your real estate license, you joined it. And I don't like mentioning broker's name. We don't need to do that, but you joined the team, right?
I did join a team, yes.
Because you felt that, yeah, go ahead.
So I joined a team when I was pregnant. I worked with Claire back in Jacksonville. So I had the opportunity to join a team out here, and I did that. I was busting my tail off showing property while I was 9 months pregnant, literally on my hospital bed, about to give birth to my son, texting the agent like, oh my God, we have the home inspection tomorrow. They're like, go have your baby. Go have your baby. And I'm like, okay, fine, whatever. And I gave birth to my son in January of 2020. Not even 2 weeks later, guys, if you know me, if you were at the previous organization and you were on this call, I was in the office 2 weeks later, like ready to go. Like, and they're like, what are you doing, Liz? And I'm like, what do you mean? And they're like, what are you doing? Like, you just had a baby. Like, why are you here? And I'm like, I don't have a choice. I don't have a choice. I'm like, my husband just lost his job. He could have gone back to work, but where my husband was mentally, it just wasn't. It was either my husband goes back to work and is absolutely miserable and suicidal, or I put on my big girl pants and do what I have to do and not only save my husband and my family, but build my business so that he never has to work again. So I made the choice and I was back in the office doing everything that I could do. And then COVID hit. So it was just like one thing after another. Yeah, it was
So
one
you have
thing
no
after.
income, no income from your husband. You're on a commission basis. You're on a team, so they're only paying you probably what, a small split?
It was a 50-50 split plus a brokerage split. So you're talking about maybe 26% of my commission checks that I'm getting on. And now at this time I have no money. I'm like barely making it.
And then the house goes into, you couldn't pay the mortgage payment.
Couldn't pay the mortgage. So COVID hits, we were fortunate to be able to put the house on forbearance. Because I was not producing because of COVID, I was able to apply for unemployment. So I was on unemployment, so was my husband, and that's how we were able to pay some of our utility bills. And then we get COVID. So, and I kept getting positive COVID tests. So I couldn't even go back to my office to work up until August of 2020, where I really start, attacking. I get one closing in September of 2020. Then I get four or five? I think it was 5 in October. And I barely made 10 grand. And I'm like, my house is on forbearance already for how long? I'm like, what the hell am I doing? Sorry guys. I'm like, what am I doing? Like, how am I going to make ends meet where I'm banking and where, the mortgage company is saying, hey, Liz, you guys can don't worry about it. You guys can extend this to the end of the loan. So we're like, at least we have some kind of saving grace. And we were told this every time we called the mortgage company. So I was making some kind of money and I was like, okay, let me put this towards the mortgage. So at least we know that it's not as much at the end of the loan. Come 2021, my business is getting a little more consistent where I'm doing about 1 to 2 transactions a month. And then July of 2021, I call the mortgage company and they say, you have to strike a check for $36,000. It's not going to be due at the end of the loan. You have to pay this upfront. And I am going through looking at my husband crying, fully like sobbing, like, what are we going to do? I decided that was that moment where I made the change. I left my team. I went, started to work by myself, did a couple transactions by myself while I was at the previous organization, but I still had to sell my house. So I had to sell my house, guys, and that's okay because it's just materialistic and I will get back on we're back on our feet. I retired my husband last month and that's what it's about.
So let's go there because I want to have enough time to show how you do your business and what changed.
Yeah.
So that's when you went inside, really. That's because that's all. That's the only place we can go, folks, and that's the only place the strength is. Because it wasn't. Did it help? What brought her to the team was that she was loving herself enough to make some changes, right? And the team's not the magic. Nothing's the magic outside of us. Whatever brokers, whatever team, whatever. Forget about that. It's inside you. And that's what happened to Liz. So let's just talk about your current business. You since when did you join the GPS group?
So I joined GPS November of 2021. So I've only been with GPS for 4 or 5-ish months. Yeah.
Yeah. So tell us let's go right down these C's. Because your business right now, how many you told me you had what, $50,000 that once you hit that mark.
So I hit the mark as of April 1st. I'm extremely excited. I went through and I sat with myself and I said, look, you have to do something different. What are we going to do in order to make this happen? So I started calling my sphere of influence, and then all of my hard work that I've pushed throughout these several months, they finally came in. So I have a very strict schedule. If you guys want to see, this is my board. I actually start my day every day as 0. And I think that's the most important thing for every single one of us is I'm like, when I get something under contract, I'm freaking out. I'm like, okay, I just put these people in the contract. Like, I need to get a new active. Oh, wow, I got a new active. I need to get somebody in the pipeline to replace that. So that's my driving force every single day, is starting at zero, because I know once I get somebody into pending or closed, how am I going to replace them?
So now we're talking about the first C, which is clock, right?
Yes.
I have in there, you can't manage time. And by the way, Joe, in
Yeah.
case people have to leave early, put that PDF in there if you don't mind. Can't manage time, only your calendar. How do you manage your calendar?
So I am very big on Google Calendar. I actually have a planner as well. I am a physical writer. I like to write everything down. So I have my my Google Calendar where I put all of my appointments and try to plan out my days like that. I actually bought this on Amazon. I can share the PDF with you guys if you like, but I use this planner. This is like my baby. I go through it every single day. I plan it out at night, every night, so I know what I'm doing the next day. And I'll go through and I'll do my positive affirmations for the day, because mentally I need to be in a good place every single day. I journal every morning. It's important because it's the very similar to these calls where it sets the tone for the day. It sets the tone for me. I can't say it for everyone, but for me, it sets the tone. So I get to put my positive affirmations every morning. Then I have my targets for the day. Like, what do I need to do? We were talking about transaction coordinators yesterday. That's on my to-do list today, because I need a TC so I can bring in more business for my family. Things that I'm grateful for. It's my life. I'm okay with that. I'm grateful for my life and every challenge that has come my way, and I am in control of my life. Then I go through my schedule and I kind of schedule it out, what time I'm waking up, what time I'm lead genning, what time I'm going on appointments. Because if it's not on your calendar, it doesn't exist. And I cannot change. Like, if it's one thing that I know that I need to do every single day, is lead generate for new business, whether that's through social media, calling, text messages, whatever.
Liz, on your clock, so you make the morning calls. How many days a week do you make the morning call?
Every day. I don't skip. 5 days a week. I try to take
I
the
have
off of the
people,
card.
literally, I have not some people, I have hundreds. As I said, we're at 420, whatever our number is, and we went through 680, whatever the number is. All those people that left, they said, I said, hey, we've been on the morning call. How do I get on those? Did you ever go in the world, take a training? Well, yeah, I can't find my world. Folks, we are where we are is because of the calendar, right? Because of the calendar. So, wow, that's amazing. You do a written calendar and an online calendar.
Yep.
Wow.
Yep.
And you have how many children? You only have one child. That's why.
I have one baby, but I have three. I have
Three,
my two
right?
bonus babies. Yes, I have bonus babies. I hate the word stepkids. If you know me, I have never called my kids my stepkids. Those are
Right.
my babies.
Right. Okay, now let's talk about contact. You already hit that a little bit. I have in what we've been talking about all these weeks, contacts, use them or lose them. In other words, you're
Yes.
going to lose them to somebody else. So
Yep.
every day, you said you work your sphere.
I work my sphere. I will tell you guys, since I've been on my own, I have never purchased a lead. It does not work for me, and I'm okay with that. For others, it may. My business is from my sphere of influence. And with that, that's my social media. And Jessica Baskey, she's on this call. She does phenomenal on social media. It's so funny. I'm always stalking her social media and stuff like that, just to see things to make mine look a lot better. But sphere of influence, guys, call your people, the people that you know. Look at how many people are on your phone. If you have 100 people, I think the ratio is 12 people will buy for you that year. Yeah, it's a real thing. Imagine when you have 400, 500 contacts on Facebook or, on your phone. Look at what that's going to do to your business.
Yep. Controlling your contacts. Tony does a thing every time he talks to an agent. He says, let me have your phone for a second. He scrolls down to the bottom. And because when they're complaining about no business, he goes, you've got 800 contacts. There's in that percentage you're talking about. He says, and then I was with a guy yesterday, Jessica Bassey's on here. She threw a public event yesterday and did a really nice job on this big luncheon. And one of the guys that walked in, he is set, I think he was 72. Very, very, very wealthy guy, but he maintained his real estate license. His wife left him. Long story, but anyway, the guy calls 200 people a day out because he just loves it. He loves it, and he does about 10 deals a year. That's all he wants to do. He doesn't need the money. He just loves calling people. So And once we don't get it, our contacts, either you use them or lose them. Okay, third thing is commitments. A pledge or undertaking. A commitment is a pledge or undertaking. There's a lot of commitments that we make that hurt us. There's other commitments we don't make that hurt us, right? So what are your commitments like? Your calendar is a part of a commitment, right? But what other commitments do you try to avoid? Let's talk about the ones you avoid. Who tries to suck you in? Yeah.
So who tries to suck me in? The drunk monkey in here, like where it's just like, oh, don't call that person because they don't want to talk to you. And I have to talk to myself and like, you know what? So what? If they tell me no, that's the worst that they could do. So I have to really talk to myself. I have a commitment to talk to Claire, to talk to someone, just a mentor, just to put me in the right place every single day. I have a commitment to my family. Like if I don't at least set one appointment a day or get one under contract per week, we're not doing anything. We are not celebrating. We are not going out. We're not spending money. So my goal and my commitment is to my family is to get one under contract a week. And if I don't, I am failing my family. And I think worst case scenario, I'm like, if I don't do this, I'm going back to where I was in September of 2021. And I don't want to be there.
Wow.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Okay. So your concerns, your concerns have changed quite a bit from having to worry about losing your house and that your husband lost a job and you're pregnant. I mean, and most men don't understand what it's like after you give birth and that whole postpartum thing. Anyway, I don't like bringing up that conversation because of a work I'm involved in. It could get ugly. But your concerns, how do you handle and juggle all your concerns?
I pray. I talk to Claire. I talk to my husband. Honestly, most people say it all the time. They're like, how are you and your husband still together after all of this? And I'm just like, this only made us stronger. And we talk about it every single night. Like, what did we do today that we could have done differently? Like, we reflect every single night. In order to make the game plan for tomorrow, to make sure that we can make the necessary changes, and not let it happen again. So,
right. And then when when you talk about our concerns, we're also concerned about the national debt, but we can't even balance our own checkbook, right? So when you show up in the meetings every morning and you journal and you take time for yourself, that alleviates concerns that would haunt you.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
How many times you've been concerned about maybe a prospect? I think aren't you the one that was concerned about, oh, maybe I don't have enough pendings yet. And you got on one call and then what Tom Martin presented, it got you 3 deals. Was that you?
Yeah.
Yeah. The cash offers.
Yep.
And don't even tell anybody who's maybe on the call that didn't attend that to make them go back and watch the GPS. Right?
Yeah.
You got 3 deals in was it 1 week or 10 days?
It was less than that. I think it was. Claire, do you remember the number? I'm sorry. I'm putting Claire on the spot.
Oh
she knows my business better than I do.
So it's always great to have numbers and it's always great to be a part and watch people flourish. However, I can tell you that those deals came to fruition in less than 5 days.
Whoa, all because you attended that meeting. Is that correct?
Yeah.
See, folks, this is the thing. The number one, look it up on Google. 10 things that do not require talent. The number one, I think, is showing up.
Yep.
That doesn't require any talent. Liz, you weren't talented to show up at that meeting. But you were talented in controlling your calendar, though. You got there.
Sure.
And you got 3 deals that 1 week.
Yep.
And unfortunately, we're preaching to the choir a little bit because most of the people I'm seeing on here are on here a lot. But damn, it's amazing that one meeting, 3 deals in 5 days, folks.
Yep.
And yet we don't turn on YouTube. We don't get out and walk and put our headphones on. It's please, the mind body mastermind Facebook, commit to learning, commit to showing up at these meetings. All right. So your concerns, they're a whole lot less because you're showing up. Communications should always be loving because listening is loving. Okay. What are you sounds like you listen to a lot of customers.
Yeah, I listen to a bunch of my customers, just making sure that I understand their wants and needs and their assessments. I'll talk to them for an hour before we take them out just to make sure that it's not a waste of their time and a waste of mine, because I do have kids and a husband that I want to make sure that I'm home to. You know, I communicate with you guys. I'm always willing to pour into others that poured into me. And my husband, he's my biggest advocate, and it works.
And your and the concepts was number 6C. This is the whole see, these C's are the ones that cause us to get sailing and have that even keel. That's a concept of self. Now you said, and you threw in there, that even though you're in a good space, your head is constantly telling you you're not. You're still battling, right?
Yep.
It's just
Always.
it's the ego. It's the ego. It doesn't like success, folks. And yet we're struggling to try to be successful when there's no struggle to success.
So
It-
Fred,
Yeah.
let me talk to that exercise that you're talking about right now. One of the great skills that Liz has implemented in her life, not just her business, is giving her the safe people where she can just verbal vomit, because she knows that when she says it out loud, she understands what the fear is, what the false is, and what the facts are. So when she is allowed that opportunity to give herself to verbal vomit, to speak all that crap that's in there out, she knows that the good comes in. And
Yeah.
that is the conscious mind and the heart not coming into agreement, but that authentication of facts of what is real and what is not. And once that verbal vomit happens, then she's like, well, that was fucking bullshit. And she moves on. Sorry.
And you know, I'm glad you brought that up, Claire. I'm glad you brought that up, because this concept of self, right? And if you remember the heart, HEART, the R is for reserves. So Liz, the reason you're doing well is because you call them reserves. You've been honest with yourself. You definitely have empathy for yourself and your family. You looked around, you said, if I don't do something. And so then you developed an attitude, then you got tough on yourself, and then you called on your reserves, right? I mean, you called on your reserves, and then you turn back around, you get tough on yourself, and then it's got to start over again.
Yep.
Because,
Yep.
you know, the ego doesn't like you being tough on yourself. It doesn't like it, right? So your
Yes, sir.
self-concept is so healthy right now because you are gaining your heart from that which you lost as a kid in the school and all these other things that life throws at us. And then the 7th one, because I want to allow a few minutes here for some questions of you. Right now, how many pendings do you have?
So I have 4 pendings, and I have 10 actives right now.
10 active listings, 4 pending.
So no, not 10. I have 4
Right.
pendings. I have 10 active clients right now who are
Oh,
a mix of buyers and
got it.
sellers. Yes.
Got it. Okay. And how many listings?
So I have 1 listing right now.
One listing. Yeah,
It's
that's
okay.
that's common. No, that's common in
Yeah.
this day and age. And then the 7th C is conversation versus conversion. You know, the causes we take up in our life. So many times we'll take up of calls. I'm Republican, I'm Democrat, Biden, Trump, you know, Christian, Jewish, Muslim. We take up these causes, and no one wants to have conversation about it. Everyone wants to convert everybody, right? So how do you stay away from the conversion mentality and just stay in that conversation mentality?
Honestly, I'm like, everyone has their open mind. Everyone is entitled to an opinion. I know what I need to do. And I try to keep myself in my little bubble. And I'm like, guys, if you want to be negative, go right ahead. I just want to exclude myself out of the conversation because I don't need that. Trust me. I've been through it all. You know, I'm only 28. I've been through it all. I don't need that. I'm on a journey just to continue to move up. And,
Your journey.
you know, negativity, it's easy to have a group of positive people, but that one negative person spreads like cancer. And I'm like, I don't got time for it. No.
Yeah. And you show up.
Yes, I show up.
Right, this whole idea of conversation versus conversion, and when you think of that ego side and that soul side, I wish I had time to pull that back up and really talk about this idea of conversation versus conversion, because conversion isn't the one thing I mentioned. It's also, if I'm not doing well, I got to look out. And I can't have a conversation with myself, or a conversation like you're with people and calling on your reserve. I'm going to convert them. Hey, I'm in trouble. You owe me something, you know, or life owes me something, or my parents owe me something, or my mentor owes me something, or my sponsor owes me. And that's what, because we blame. And that's what we do. We try to convert the world to our thinking. And
That's the biggest thing. Like, you know, you have to take yourself out of that mindset of being a victim and that everyone's out to get you. Like, you are in charge of your own life. You are like, you have to take control. And that was the biggest thing for me. That was that life-changing moment was when I knew, yes, you have to sell your house and that's okay. But if you do not do, if you continue on this road and not make a change, you're going to continue to be in this even worse. So
Yeah.
take control of your life. Stop being in a place, in a mindset of blame and being a victim, because you are in control of your life. Point blank simple. Stop reinventing the wheel. Stop reinventing the wheel, guys.
Yes. Stop reading. I love that. And you depend on the systems that you have at EXP.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And you
Yes,
depend
I
on the
do.
meetings. Yeah. Last week we had Amanda and Jordan on, and here a couple goes from broke to stoked, and they go from, a $27,000 a year job, and they earned close to $800,000 this year. Come on. February was only 1 year with us. It's crazy because their mindset, their will set has changed. So, you know what? I could do this for another hour with you, Liz. This is phenomenal. Yeah, I just love you.
I
Thank you so
appreciate
much.
it, guys.
I would love to say hello to Jose. Is Jose in the house? Or is he with the-
Babe, he's with the baby right now. So
Bring the baby too.
bring the baby. Let me text him. I'll be right back. Give me one
All right.
second.
Hey, start putting some questions in the chat box for Liz. We want to say, hey, thank you, Steph. Liz is a female Tony Robbins. Man, am I pumped. Very good, Liz. She focuses on love, not toxicity. Amen, Claire. This was timely for me, Fred. Thank you, Aletha. That's powers.
He's in the shower.
Oh, okay. Never mind. We don't want to share. And the fact that you stalk Jessica Baskey's is I stalk so many people. It's amazing in a business way that you're talking
in
about.
a great way.
Yeah.
There's so much, guys. There's so much money to be made in this business. Like, let's feed off of each other. I think the biggest thing is we try to compete with the next person instead of trying to boost them up. Like,
Yes.
how many realtors are there in the Orlando vicinity, just all together? Like, no, like, let's mastermind. Let's be, Tom talks about it all the time, be a great co-broke. I'm like, oh my God, I shout small businesses out all the time. I'm like, because if you grow, I grow. I just think it's, I don't know. I feel like it's so easy to say, but it's so hard to do.
Yep. Fantastic. All right. Question for Liz. Let's get some questions here or comments or, any questions about her calendar, about her commitments, and collaborate and cooperate. Amen. Tech bits. That's Robert. He's in hiding today. Not showing his lovely face. Somebody else.
I'm
So
always
Liz,
willing
if there was
listen.
Liz, if there was one thing that would excel your business right now that you see that is a major portion of your business that you're working on, what would it be?
To leverage and hire a TC. That's the.
You don't have a TC?
So no, I got yelled at yesterday.
Naylor,
So it's on my calendar. It's on my calendar to interview TCs. I'm actually going to reach out to Tammy.
Wait. Let me just tell you something. My estimation of you was like way up here. It's now going higher. Listen. It's gone even higher. Because if you've been able to do what you've been able to do in the past 18 months, no, not even 18 months. What am I talking about? 8 months.
Barely.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
And you're doing your own transaction. My estimation is going higher. But now I'm going to go with Claire is you got to stop that because that's not fair to your family.
Wait, is there a job interview here? I'm interested.
Absolutely. So I guess this is me in my own mind where we talk about, the drunk monkey in our mind. It's hard for me to give control and reins of my business to someone else because of everything that I've dealt with, where it's like, I have to control my life because if I don't, and this is just me and this is me in my own head and I need to get out of it. So I have accepted it. I am on the verge of getting a TC, guys. So please bear with me. But
no, it's your thing, Liz. It's your thing.
You know what I mean? But it was hard. It's hard for me to give the reins because
that was one
I'm
of your
so
saboteurs.
used to being. Yes.
That was one of your saboteurs.
It was my number one.
Number
one.
Yeah, her saboteurs. By the way, please go to positiveintelligence.com and take that assessment. That is her main saboteur. Mine is a pleaser. Yep. I did it for 40 years and it went back for 2 more. It's we got to know ourselves. We got to know ourselves. That's why you need these masterminds. That's why you need to read. That's why you need to study. That's why you got to have audiobooks. That's why you got to investigate. That's why you got to show up at these meetings, is to keep that reserve going, that you won't have heart without reserves, right? But that's great, Liz, that you've been able to do all that. Oh my gosh, when you give that control up, and not only that, you're going to get more customers, and you're going to attract more agents because they're going to see how organized you are. So someone asked a question here. It says, do you, first of all, someone asked a question, what's your favorite way to lead generate? I think you said Sphere, right?
My sphere of influence, 100%, and social media.
And social media. Sphere influence. And then the other question was, Liz, do you cold call, use RedX? Your goal of making 1 appointment per day, is that for a sale or lunch with friends, SOI, et cetera, counts?
So I don't cold call. It's, it's not a one size fits all. Jessica Baskis, I actually watched your story about that, where you talked about that yesterday, where real estate is not a one size fits all. Some people are great at cold calling. It ain't mine. It's not my strong suit, and I've accepted that, but that's why, I do use my sphere of influence and social media. So, but my goal for making 1 appointment a day, it's, it changes every day, because I go through the night. I'm like, okay, do I need to get a new client because I have someone who just went pending, or am I attracting a new agent because, I want to increase my downline? Is it interviewing a TC for my team? So my goal changes. However, once I put people under contract or closed, I navigate the next day to be able to go through and say, okay, I need to fill these bubbles in. So my day-to-day changes. I hope that helps.
Yeah.
Kyle has a question.
Yeah, and just real quickly, you're 26, so it's not like you have
28.
I mean 28. It's not like you have 15 years of contacts. So you're just doing a good job working what you got.
Yeah, my biggest thing is I moved, surprisingly. You would think I was in the military. I moved to all parts of Florida. Like, I think that in the 7 years like I've been here, I've moved 5 or 6 times. So I've been in Tampa, I've been in Orlando, I've been in Jacksonville, back to Orlando, and Haines City, Clearwater. Oh my God, I forgot that one. Where I'm going into different places where I didn't know a single soul but my husband, and I had to build my business that way. So and I can do a class on this where it talks about how to be the #1 relocation agent out there, because I'm very heavily referral based, where I send agents, from back home, business, or, people who want to sell in Philly to come move to Florida. So that's kind of where the bulk of my business is, like when I look at closed transactions.
Another question, Clara, what was it?
Style, she has a question.
Oh, Sael? Speak up.
Hi. Can you guys hear me?
Yes, we
Yes.
can.
Okay. I just want to thank Liz for your being on the call today. I have a guest on the call, and this was phenomenal information. And you being such a, such young age, doing what you're doing is just unbelievable. Thank you so much for the inspiration. I'm sure this was valid for everybody. Thank you.
No, thank you, Style, and welcome to your guest.
Yes, thanks.
And that word inspiration, when you hear that, and it feels good. I love it. I'm inspired all the time too, but take it the next level, the aspiration, because inspiration is like a sunburn. There you go. Hold that up, Liz.
Read
Aspire.
this.
Aspire.
Wow.
Create your own reality and create your own DNA. That's it, from everything from business to life to relationships.
Yeah.
Frank McKinney is a dear friend of mine. I've been to Haiti with him. Every time you buy that book, you feed 200 meals in Haiti. Yeah. Aspire by Frank McKinney. Aspire by Frank McKinney. If you need a discount,
I'll put it on the web.
Yeah, use my code. It's Fred, I think. I don't know. It's on Workplace. Look up Aspirations Realized. Aspirations Realized on Workplace. But anyway, any other questions of Liz?
Alina, I think you had a question.
Hi, Liz. I actually don't have a question, but I just want to say that you really inspired me this morning. I was going through some mental challenges, and I admire you, and I just want to say thank you and keep doing the great job you're doing.
Don't make me cry. I'm already crying. No, guys, honestly, I wouldn't have been able to do this without any of you. Honestly, if you guys, any of you, I'm so open to helping anyone that may be in a similar situation or just needs someone to talk to. I'll put down my contact information, guys. You can call me, text me, email me, DM me, whatever. I am willing to invest into you guys the same way you invest into me every single day. So I'm going to type my information.
Alana, there you go. You now have a reserve to call on. Okay. Alana, when you next time you get in that mental slump,
Yep.
you know, give Liz a call.
Text me.
Thank you, guys. Thank you. I appreciate.
You guys
All
are
right.
amazing.
Liz, I
Anybody else?
want to say thank you to you. Thank you for coming and joining our group. Thank you for bringing forward another level of energy. I know you're here quite often now. I haven't been here for a while, but it's nice to come in and see that we continue to be able to push our group forward.
Amen.
And it's about caring and sharing and collaboration here. And you know, if I could
Absolutely.
give you a gold star, I'm putting it on your screen. It's on your forehead right now. Thank you, though.
Yeah, that's great, Robert. And guys, you know what? I should have said it while we're here. You notice that if I had not shown up on Monday, I don't do open house. I don't do deals. If I would have shown up if I would not shown up on Monday, I would have heard Liz speaking, and I sensed there's something, and I went, oh my gosh, you know, she would be great for the group. And then I started hearing her story. So if you're out there, all of you are out there, I need somebody else to come forward and say, hey, look, let me tell you how I learned how to live from the inside out. There's many of you on this call, and as you know, A Course in Miracles teaches, as I, in order to heal, you know, I've got to, you know, let God, let life, let universe teach me to help others heal first, right? And so as I help others heal, I heal myself. And heal doesn't mean there's something wrong with me. It means I'm getting healthier. I'm getting healthier mentally, spiritually, physically, financially, right? So, you know, we're here for each other. We're all in this together. I don't know what you all believe religiously, anything else, but I'm telling you, my view is you got to put up with me for eternity. If you don't like me, tough luck. You got to put up with me for eternity. I'm putting up with you, you know, but in a good way. And all that love that we're keep back in us, finally we'll see, we're going to get there and go, what do you mean you didn't speak up on the meetings? I didn't know that about you when we're up there and we're going to spend eternity. You should have spoke up. I could have used that love down here. I don't need it now. So anyway, Liz, thank you, dear. Thank you so much. Anybody else? You got her.
I will stay on the call for the after party. So if you guys want to chat or anything, please don't hesitate.
Next Wednesday, someone speak up for my guest, okay? Or you recommend somebody.